What's up, everyone? Welcome to another episode of the Will and Rock MMA podcast.
What's going on, everybody? Let's just shoot straight to some news like we usually do. We have, let's just start off with TJ Dillashaw being suspended for 2 goddamn years for something that he admits to taking.
The sad thing about it is that, he's been performing with EPO for since the Cody Garbrandt fight, which makes things even much more worse. You know what I mean? They started to do the testing, and then the USADA State Athletic Commission realized that he's been taking this supplement for going on a couple of years now, unfortunately. So is it going to taint his career? Absolutely. We have to take in consideration what he was actually taking. EPO is an enhancement drug that once you take it, you need to work out immediately. This thins your blood. You need to start working out immediately. This is what Nowinski popped Lance Armstrong for. So it's a very dangerous drug to begin with. It works because we saw how great Lance Armstrong did when he won the Tour of France. So for him to take it to that level, it's scary. It's scary in general, but on top of that, it's really an enhancement drug that might take the levels that he would normally perform to a maximum level. So it's really unfortunate. Right. It truly is.
That's an awesome breakdown that you just mentioned, because that was very, very detailed. I will say this. Not only does this taint his career, I mean, this man literally came out and literally apologized. He is taking full responsibility for it. It doesn't make it any better.
No, it doesn't.
It doesn't make it any better, because when you're a champion and you are in the limelight and you are considered a role model to young fighters coming up, this is exactly what we don't want the sport to go. So I could not agree with you more with what you completely said. It taints his career. I must say, personally, that 2 years suspense was not big enough. That's my personal opinion. Because, once again, somebody who is fully taking responsibility for something he knows he take. And he was champion for a long time. This wasn't like he was just a champion for a year. Somebody who's been a champion for so many years. And for people who are off it. There was rumors of when he left Alpha Male that the reason why he left was because they were going to call him out. And to credit to Alpha Male, everyone shut their whole fucking mouth up, didn't say absolutely anything. After Cody Garbrandt accused him of taking steroids early on in his career, and now it comes to the light. This guy's been doing this for a very long time. Yeah. And I don't believe that this goes back to Cody Garbrandt. I think this goes back further than that. My personal opinion. Let's jump to the next thing before I get really frustrated about that. Ross Pearson. Road Dogg, the guy who took any fighter that they put in front of him, somebody who is someone who people should look up to, somebody who is actually giving up the sport, in my personal opinion, at the right time, because he was in the downfall of his career. Ross Pearson officially retires from MMA and any combat sport. Kudos to him for doing that and knowing when to do it.
When we think about MMA, and you think about like people that came from Europe, right? Especially like England and places like this, we think immediately of people like Michael Bisping, right? Who now retired. We think of like Whitaker from Australia. You think about all these fighters, and then you stop and you're like, damn, I forgot Ross Pearson. You know what I mean? One of the top. He fought the best of the best. Went into the octagon, always gave it his best, and man. Just all we could say is thank you for all the years that he put into the sport.
I couldn't agree with you more. And I give kudos to his family, everybody that made him look at the bigger picture, which was his time for retirement. There's always life after that. There's always life after that, especially with him with kids. So kudos to the family, to the Pearson family. Next thing we have, which is I think is a phenomenal fight. Luke Rockhold moves up weight to fight John Blachowicz at UFC 239 in Las Vegas. Jan?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. Now, this is a very interesting fight. John Blachowicz, who's been dominating his whole performances as a athlete, right, is going to fight somebody that was in his down of his career after taking a couple of losses. He decides to move up in weight. Now, this is the weight that he normally walks in. So back to like this cutting weight where we always like, why is these fighters cutting weight? He goes up in weight in the weight that he normally walks in, which allows him to perform better. Maybe, we don't know, right? We have never seen him fight in a light heavyweight division. However, it's a big step for him to take, especially with a guy like Jan who's on his way to, to stardom. A
Somebody
very,
has to
very
fight weight to make
interesting
that.
fight. We'll talk about it more into detail when the fight transpires. But for now, all I can say is a goddamn good match, and I'm glad he went up in weight as well.
I will say, even though I'm happy Luke Rockhold went up in weight, he's going up against somebody who's just naturally bigger, right? And naturally more powerful at this point in his career, my personal opinion. There's so many fights that he could have taken in his original weight class that I am in shock that he decided to move up weight. There's a lot of fights for him there, like deep fights for him in there. So I do wish Luke Rockhold the best. Once again, we'll break them down when they eventually fight at UFC 239 in Vegas. We'll discuss it then. I don't think this is the best thing for him, but maybe as he's get older, cutting weight is not as easy as it used to be.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe this is the way to go for him.
We'll see. Yeah.
Well, time will tell. Next fight, which I'm really looking forward to, is Joseph Benavidez versus Jussier Formaga. That's ESPN 4 in Minneapolis in June 29th.
Sure. So this is a very interesting bout because, as we know, Cejudo really doesn't have an opponent right now to who he could really fight. Right? He's in the top of his game. Wait, did he just get announced to fight somebody? I'm not 100% sure.
Who?
Cejudo.
Cejudo's fighting Morales.
Oh, that's right, Moraes. Marlon Moraes. Yeah, you're completely right. Which completely deserves the fight.
Oh,
absolutely.
Sure.
But this is the next two fighters coming in, Formaga and Benavidez. They're both coming off great wins. Benavidez has been on a tear as of late. I'm really interested to know how Benavidez is going to come into this fight, especially with Formaga, with also coming with a good streak, to see who's going to fight, whether it's Cejudo or Moraes. So a really big load is on both fighters, if you ask me.
I couldn't agree with you more. All right, let's jump straight into UFC 236, which we both agree is a fucking stacked card.
It truly is. It's in a couple of minutes. I mean, it started already. We're doing this.
Let's jump on this because I want to catch the fight, bro.
Yeah, let's go.
We have first fight. We have Nikita Krylov versus OSP.
Yeah. Now, this is a very interesting fight, right?
Woo,
OSP is a motherfucker. He's been on a down, coming up, down and up. And this guy, Nikita, has been on a fucking tear. I have Nikita winning this by TKO in the first round. And I just think that, unfortunately, OSP hasn't been performing as of late as we expected him to perform. But also, we've seen him get knocked out a couple of times. So for that, I'm going to have to go with Nikita for this one.
You got Nikita. I got OSP. I think every time you think you count OSP out, he finds a way to submit somebody in a crazy style or knock somebody in a crazy style. I got OSP. There's a lot riding for OSP in this fight. He's taking the first fight in the main event of this card.
That's a big
when
one.
He usually is the co-main event of fights. So he's riding a lot off him. I think the pressure's going to get to OSP and he's going to pull this off because he's good under pressure. Next fight, which I am fucking looking forward to, we got Dwight Grant versus Alan Jouban.
So with this fight, Dwight Grant, a tremendous performance as of late. However, Alan Jouban, he's no slouch, bro. He comes in, he wants to either submit you or he wants to knock you out. So we're looking at a really good fight. However, I have Alan Jouban winning by decision.
Interesting you say that. Jouban is the more of a vet fighter. He has literally 16 fights within him. Dwight only has 9 fights with him. I seen Dwight fight. Alan I haven't seen much. I got Dwight winning this as well, and I got Dwight winning this in decision myself. Eric Anders is fighting Khalil Roundtree. What in the fuck are UFC thinking of giving Eric Anders such a dominant fighter and such well-rounded fighter like Roundtree? Roundtree's stand-up game is by far one of the best stand-up fighters that's coming up in the division. I feel really bad for Anders on this fight. That's my personal opinion. Don't think it's a good idea for Anders to take this fight.
I do have Khalil Roundtree winning because unfortunately Eric Anders has been in a couple of battles where he just never looked as good as Khalil. Now, they're both coming off losses. We have to take that in consideration. Khalil did get knocked out his last fight, and so did Eric Anders. The most interesting thing to have is who is going to strike first, because they're very hesitant, except for Eric Anders. Eric Anders is normally the more of aggressive fighter. I still believe that Khalil will catch him, and we're going to see a second round knockout in this fight.
I hope so. Khalil needs this knockout. I think Erk still is young to the sport. There's still room for him to grow. Roundtree came into the UFC with a big name. He needs a big victory, especially after his first UFC fight getting knocked out. I don't think that was a good look for Khalil. Next fight, which, man, just thinking about it gives me fucking goosebumps. You got Kelvin Gastelum versus Israel Adesanya.
Now, this could be a fight that could easily headline any card. Any MMA fans would know that this definitely could headline. It's such a hard fight. You know, seeing a performance like Adesanya put against Anderson Silva, not the greatest performances, you ask me. I mean, it was a great fight, but he was fighting the GOAT of the sport. However, Kevin Gastelum does not give a fuck. He's gonna come, be right in front of your face. He's gonna wrestle you. He's gonna throw punches, and it's not gonna be as easy as a fight for Adesanya as people probably expect it to be. I'm actually gonna go for the underdog. The underdog. I was gonna say the Undertaker. The underdog, and I'm gonna go for Kevin Gastelum. Kevin Gastelum's gonna grind him out. We're gonna see either a submission in the third round, or we're gonna see him winning by decision.
I don't see this fight ending in submission. I do see Kevin Gastelum either grinding him to the core, or Asanya's gonna prove how fucking good he is. I think if you stop and think about someone like Anderson Silva taking his time, keeping the distance, and doing little things to really make it complicated for Israel to do, I think Gastelum is the complete opposite. He's in your face, and I feel that Israel, with his elbows, with his knees, he's gonna find ways to really chop down that tree that is Gastelum coming at you at 100 miles per hour. So I got Israel winning this fight. I have this as a TKO spectacular fashion because I can say that with this guy. That's something that can be literally said, right?
Absolutely.
Last but not least, bro, this is the toughest fight that I could say, man. Max Holloway versus Dustin Poirier.
It's been running through my mind all day today. I'm like, who could take this fight? Max Holloway or Dustin Poirier? Max Holloway is the best lightweight fighter we've seen since
BJ Penn.
100%, since BJ Penn.
Another Hawaiian.
Max Holloway is a guy that doesn't, he got gas in the tank. Don't think he will ever get tired. We've seen Poirier slows down after the 4th or 5th round. I do believe this is going to go the distance. This is definitely a decision. I do not see either one of them knocking each other out. However, I just don't see anybody right now in the division besides Nurmagomedov. What the hell is his freaking name? Khabib Nurmagomedov. Beating a guy like Max Holloway. I think Max Holloway is at his all-time high right now, and there's nobody taking him down. I have Max Holloway winning by decision. Okay, go for it. I was gonna say.
They're so equally matched to me. When I think about them, the difference between Max Holloway and Dustin Poirier is Dustin Poirier hasn't stayed as busy as Max Holloway. I will say this. Dustin Poirier is hands down the most underrated fighter in the UFC. I would say he is the most underrated fighter in the UFC. I think he is fully ready. This is the fight for him. If there's any fight that there needs, he needed to be in the top and he needed to take his belt. So kudos to the UFC for fucking finally doing something that makes sense, not just for fans, but for the actual fighter that deserve it. I have Dustin Poirier winning. This sounds crazy for me to say, but I think Poirier is a better overall fighter than Max Holloway. And that's so hard for me to say, bro, because I have so much respect for Max Holloway. I'm going Dustin Poirier in this fight. I'm going decision. This is going to be a bloody fucking mess. And they're both going to leave something in that octagon, which is a couple of years of their career left in this octagon. I really believe that. And it's unfortunate, but I think that's the truth.
My brother. So we wrapped up the fights. We talked about the news, and we're going to go catch the fights. So, guys, we'll catch you guys next week, man.
Peace.